Ambezi may hear of some, uh, you know, visuals or community gathering, which I gotta believe that if something like this had happened in the community, and Nipsey was still alive, he would have been one who would have pulled together folks to discuss this kind of thing. That's the type that seems to be the type of guy he was. The type of thing he would do, or if he hadn't pulled it together, he would certainly be involved in trying to hold it together. Um, so what happens now? Where do we go from here? Kind of thing is where I am. There probably is outrage. I mean, if we're talking about it now here, I'm sure there are the people who are so close to it are certainly dealing with it as well. I mean, what's the other? I thought something where they were talking about the gathering where the people could view like 25 at a time or something like that. That they're it's at the point now where you have to kind of limit how many people they're gonna have. I don't know if it has to do with the service or is it visual or viewing or something. But I thought I read somewhere that there was like it's gotten to the point now that you kind of have to you can only have so many people gathering at a time. I guess in an effort to kind of keep order.
Yeah,
That you can't even mourn,
well, yeah,
with
and I
without
think
fear of some crap going down.
yeah, that kind of came as a result of the situation that happened the next night, and you
Right.
had the media reporting about the stampedes, and you had folks hurt, and some few officers were hurt, and I think they were trying to allow people to grieve and express themselves, but they realized after that situation they had to control things a little better. But you know what?
Right.
That brings up a great point. I think we should kind of pick up on that because I know there are a lot of other things that you want to discuss in that regard. So how about this? Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll kind of talk about that. What do you think?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back after the break.
All right.
You're listening to Straight No Chaser. We'll be right back.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends.
In biology,
In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today,
The only thing I didn't learn today
the only thing I didn't learn
Is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
The path to happiness is not the easy one, but taking drugs will not make it easier. Many people got lost and end up losing their life to drugs. If you or anyone that you know is within that path, don't be afraid to seek for help. Visit www.adk.gov.my for information related to drug abuse. So, know your path. This message is brought to you by the National Anti-Drugs Agency.
Where I wanted to quit, in the back of my mind, I told myself I have to quit. And just that day when I reached for that cigarette, I'll never forget it, with my son looking at me. And it was like a bolt of lightning hit me where I finally realized the big picture of what year after year and cigarette after cigarette had done. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I quit. Took him a whole pack, brand new pack. Took him, threw him out the window. And I don't litter. But that's it. I'm done. I quit. No, it's going to kill me. It's going to be cancer. But I don't have to make it sooner than it needs to be. He was shocked and he says, I really hope you mean that, Mom.
You're listening to Straight No Chaser. So let's get back to your girl MBZ, Pastor C, Thin Bad, and the Chief.
And we're back from the break. We were talking about, in light of the Nipsey Hussle murder, talking about urban violence and how it just, is all across America. It's crazy, and it's got to stop. On the one hand, we're hearing statistics from folks in Washington that crime stats are down, and they might be, but at the same time, you've got this crazy, unprecedented level of brazen, ridiculously, crazy crimes each year, right in the open, broad daylight. The Nipsey Hussle incident is just one example, but the only reason that we're discussing it is because he's so high profile. But we're shedding light. We're using him to kind of shed light on the whole particular idea. And while it's not new to many of us who have lived in big cities across America, it gets tiring that you hear it over and over again. Unfortunately, there are dozens of citizens that are killed in a similar manner almost every day, but they never receive the attention, and the news media doesn't always get to them. All kinds of craziness happens. Drug deals gone wrong, arguments gone bad, fights over someone's girl, someone's boy, a money fight. It's all kinds of ridiculous reasons, but people are losing their lives, and they're taking, making permanent solutions for temporary problems. It's ridiculous. And I hesitate, we always hear senseless crime, but that would that would mean the converse would mean that there are murders that make sense. And I don't think any of them do. But you'd have, a whole lot of stuff that's going on, this on top of, everything else that's going on. It's mind boggling. And so we're trying to figure out, what is it? What can we do? How can we get folks engaged and stay engaged and actually make a difference? If we don't have an outrage, are we just saying then, that are we tacitly saying that it's okay if we kill each other? But no, and we know that's not the case. But what do you do? How do you get? I understand people are fatigued emotionally. People get fatigued mentally from trying to think through this all the time, and people are busy with their lives. But what do we do? So let's talk about it. Chief Ambeezy, or are you back to being Ambeezy, or are you Am Sneezy still? You good?
I'm cut off.
I know allergies is no joke.
You know what's crazy? No. Hello?
You're there.
Is it? I can't hear it.
You're there.
Okay.
You
know
are
what's
there.
crazy?
We can hear you.
I'm Sneezy.
I sneeze a couple times, and all of a sudden my mic got cut off.
That's right. You're on time for that, man. You might infect somebody over the radio.
That's right. I'm so glad I'm here.
That's right. We can't afford that liability.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad over here, though.
Oh, there she goes. Listen to this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. if I say more than like 5 words, I sneeze. So I'm just gonna keep my comments
say
very
4.
limited.
Cool,
Right.
cool. All right. So before we left for the break, Thin Bad, you brought up a real good point. Why don't you bring that back up again so we can
I
kinda
did.
start from there? Yes, you did.
What was the
did.
what was
I did.
what was the real good point? I thought I bring up a lot of good points. Now, which one in particular were we talking about?
Which one is the
Was-
real good one?
Yeah, what was the real good point?
Well, we were just talking about what appears to be the lack of community outrage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what I was getting at. I mean, and it may be disingenuous to say that the community isn't outraged. The community may be just damn tired.
Yes.
Because there's so much. They've got to contend with so much. I mean, this violence is going on. We all know the saying that you can't see the forest for the trees, but there's some people who are so close to it they can't see the tree for the bark. That they are right in everything, and everything is right up on them, and it's all they can do to kind of take care of themselves and their little space. So then it becomes the job of can the police force do it? Well, then there's a fractured relationship with a lot of our communities and police departments. Can you count on the judicial system to do it? I don't know. We got some issues there too.
Right.
So where and at the top you got a president who's calling people pencil neck and threatening people from the highest office in the land.
Is.
Yeah, and it's like fair game. Like, hell, if the president can say that, I can go bust a cap. I mean, who's the president who's saying I can walk out, I can shoot somebody and walk out in the street and people will still vote for me? What the hell is that?
Like what?
I mean, that was a while back. That was back when he was running for office. He
But
said something about
still.
I could go walk through, I could shoot somebody and walk through the streets or something, and people would still vote for me. I mean, that's ridiculous. You talk about Scarface mentality, and the funny part is,
He
a
wasn't
lot of
lying.
these folks like this. Well, yeah, it seems to be. But with the whole Scarface thing, and people idolize those movies, like you were talking about, Chief. What was it? New Jack City. Nino Brown and the Scarface. But at the end of those movies, all of those jokers die. I mean, I don't understand.
Facts.
Like, yeah, he's the man. Yeah, but he's the dead man. So why is that life, so appealing? I don't understand. I and that's the hard part. I mean, it has to be, and I know there are a lot of folks, mentors, a lot of great groups that are working in the community that are doing this day in and day out. And I think it's one of those things you just kind of have to stay in there with it until you get it. I was someone wiser than me once said, if your dreams can be accomplished in your lifetime, then your dreams aren't big enough.
Yes.
So
All
so
right.
you have to be able to be willing to do something that you may not ever see the fruit of your labor for, but at least your life will be an example. So we can hope that that's something that, all of those folks who are in the trenches doing the work, all the folks who are ex-gang members who have enough street cred to kind of go in and talk to the young brothers and sisters who are in the street now contemplating what it is they ought to do, where they should go in the crossroad. And then you have to be able to kind of move to the next phase. Like, no, look, I went this road, so you don't have to go this road. This is not the road you need to do, and kind of point them in the right direction. And I think it's something that you just have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it. You don't know. So many times people will give up right before they break through. They'll give up because they're just not seeing any results. But I gotta believe that we stay the course. You keep doing it. You may win a few. It may not be as many as you'd like to, but it'll certainly make a difference in the life of those few.
Well, and I hear you, but one of the things that I just think back on. Now, think about your younger days, and when you and I were growing
It's a
up.
long time ago.
Yeah, you and I were
brother.
growing
Long
up
time ago.
500 years ago,
Yes.
and but there was a certain degree of self-policing that occurred in the community. For example, I remember growing up and our neighbors, you know, and I love my neighbors because they kept us straight.